Good morning and welcome to the Stahls TV Morning Show. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Josh, and it's actually the afternoon. This is a pre-recorded morning show as we do our final preparations to leave for the ISS Long Beach show. We'll actually just be landing back in Pittsburgh from a red-eye flight as you're watching this. So we'll be exhausted, but know that we're wide awake here to show you how to heat print hats. Today's topic's all about heat printing headwear. And really, we want to take an approach where we talk about some sales opportunities and perhaps some ideas for heat printing headwear, where you can sell it, and then show you some functional how-to advice with some techniques on how to decorate headwear.
Yeah, absolutely. We get that from a lot of decorators on how to print headwear successfully. I think as we head into Long Beach, we'll see that the cap press is going to be probably the top-selling press on the floor. It's amazing how people always want to come and add that to their business at every trade show I'm at, and how many people really do that. So let's talk a little bit about what are the sales opportunities with headwear.
I'm sorry, as we head into Long Beach, any pun intended on that?
No.
No. All right, well, it's good anyways. I liked it. So there's a lot of different opportunities. One of the ways that we're seeing customers really realize value and profits out of headwear is by adding it as part of a package sale or a t-shirt decoration. So embroidery shops for a long time have been embroidering headwear. It's been probably the oldest, most traditional way to decorate hats. But now with heat printing, we're seeing a lot more decorators invest in cap presses for printing headwear to pair with their decorated apparel sales. And so I know you have a couple concepts here you wanted to share with our viewers where that package has happened.
Yeah, so it works for a lot of markets, really. It works with sports teams and being able to add, obviously, a hat to a baseball jersey. But we see it also in the corporate market. So here we've mixed together a hat with a polo and just being able to package that all together. We talk about it a lot on the morning show, but really just being able to add something extra and added value to the sale can help increase the price and really drive it up so you can make a little bit more money. And of course, hats are an inexpensive add-on, and as we'll see later, they're very easy to print. So that's definitely one market. The other one I always love, of course, for me is anything blingy, glitter, electric, foils, anything like that. And really, as you start to sell to more trendy markets like dance schools, cheer gyms, anything like that, being able to add some metallics and different effects, glitters to hats, and really start to expand what you're offering. Multiple print locations, so we'll get to show you some ways to print different areas like the top of the bill and different just a lot of personalization. There's a lot of opportunities with a hat for that.
Yeah, and this one to me seems like a no-brainer as well. I mean, a landscaping company, right? So if you think of the small business customers you have that are working outdoors, being able to pair a functional item like a hat for sun protection that they can wear and pair off the logos. And the reason I love this one, it's been created with a screen printed transfer, right? So it's literally just adding another design to the sheet for the same price that you're paying anyways for the sheet.
Right, absolutely. So you're pretty much getting a design for free, a couple of dollars in a hat, and you're able to add that and package it to your sale. It's awesome.
Okay, so when we explore sort of the range of hats that are out there, you start to run into some different styles. So some basic lingo on hats would be whether or not it's a 5-panel hat or a 6-panel hat. And with heat printing, the good news is we don't care. But when we're talking about panels, basically we're counting the panels across here. In a 5-panel hat, what it does is it basically eliminates the seam from the center of the cap. That's very important if you choose to screen print a hat, so you don't have to drag the squeegee and screen print across the seam, which is very difficult. But with heat printing, we really don't care if it's a 5-panel or a 6-panel cap. Most transfer technologies can go directly across that seam without an issue. So that's a start. The other thing we have to look for is sort of the construction of the cap. So we have what's called a fused buckram, which is the inside of the hat. So this is sort of like a hard crown to it. So when this is heated, it's very heat sensitive in that it will want to create a crease, and you really have to make sure you have the right combination of time, temperature, and pressure, and perhaps a low temp transfer option to print these. And then over there we have the soft crown cap. It's much easier for a heat printer to decorate. There's not a whole lot of risk with decorating soft crown caps. You can't really ruin them, even with excessive time, temperature, and pressure. It's tough to mess that one up. From a bill standpoint, I know we're going to talk a little bit about bill decoration. Obviously, we have the flat bill hats that are raging in popularity, and then we have the curved bill. Any special considerations for printing either one of those?
Really, for the with the curved bill, of course, it depends on the platen you're using. For the flat bill hat, you can use a regular t-shirt platen or what we're going to show, which is the flat bill platen. With the curved platen, or with the curved bill, you're going to want to try to stick with your cap press where you've got that curved heating element, and you're not going to flatten it out and smash it underneath the heat press.
Okay, excellent. So for those of you with a standard heat press, if it's a Hottronics press, you can purchase a flat bill cap attachment to print the top and the bottom of the bill. We'll show you a bit of each of those. Also can print the side of the hats, but to really press the front portion of the hat, even if it's a soft crown versus a hard one, you're going to need a cap press. It has a special curved mandrel that has different attachments that will allow you to conform to that curve and pretty much lock it down on nearly any style of hat that's out there in the market. But if we can start over at the flat press, most of you probably have some sort of flat press. Courtney, do you want to show us how to heat print the bill of caps to kick things off?
All right, so I am going to use the flat bill platen to press this. I'm going to change out my 16 by 20. The real benefit of this is it's going to allow me to print the full area of the cap. All right, drop this right down in here, and of course the Fusion just changes out with that pin registration, so it's really easy to switch in and out. I'm going to switch to my overhead camera so you guys can kind of get a quick angle on how this sits in. So you can see there's 4 insets with this platen. That actually allows me to line up to 4 hats depending on the size of the bill to print them all at once. So I can actually add multiple hats, whether I'm printing for multiple personalized schools or different types of markets. I can actually add all of them on at once. So this would be a great idea if you have multiple schools and you just want to add these as add-on sales so they can package later on. You can definitely do that. These transfers are fashion film. Just want to make sure these carriers aren't overlapping.
Yeah.
That way I get a nice durable print thanks to my assistant. So you do want to make sure your carriers don't overlap if you're going to print multiple locations on the hats, but these are going to press down for 320 degrees, 15 seconds for catgut fashion film. Fashion film works really well because it's got a sticky backing. It'll hold down in place as I load the heat press and press them down. Alright, so I'll press that up there. Peel back my carriers. We've got a completed designs there. I'm going to switch back to my main overhead camera. So we have 2 completed flat bill hats now completely personalized with the under the bill platen. So once we've personalized the bottom, of course the top is always the next step. So being able to mix and match personalization, heat transfer the top with a cap press, and then also add the personalization on the bottom with your shirt press. So I think we'll head over to the cap press and we'll be able to personalize a couple of those items.
Sure, and I'll take the Falcons hat. And we'll move over to the cap press. I have the duties over on the cap press here today. So over at our cap press, there's a few different styles of cap presses that are out there on the market. This particular one is the Hottronics Auto Open Cap Press. So basically it has digital time, temperature, pressure. You lock it down, it's going to open automatically when it's finished. There's also a Stahls Max Cap Press that's a little bit less expensive, doesn't have the digital pressure readout in the auto opening. But ultimately, you're getting into a cap press for less than $1,000. So you print 100 hats at $10 profit a piece, you start to get return on the machine. So the main thing with the cap press is having the right attachment for printing your hat. If I were to load this hat onto the standard attachment or platen that comes with it, it's going to be very difficult to get this flat, and there's a pucker here on the hat. I'm not sure if you can see that, but basically it's a raised puckering of the hat. So what I want to do is actually remove this attachment. It's just a pin registered system. It just pops straight out of the machine, and I can load an optional choice. Now you'll want to make sure if you decide to buy a hat press or if you already own one, you start to add some of these optional attachments. My favorite one is this low profile attachment, which is from memory 2 3/4 by 6.5 from a dimension standpoint, and that really tends to fit a lot of these hats. So you're a little bit restricted on the height of your print. You don't want to exceed that 2 3/4 dimension, but you have a full 6.5 inch to wrap around. So there's actually a cap hold down device on the side. I'm just going to put into the up position as I load my cap. Always flip the sweat band out because I don't want that impacting my pressure. And then I'm going to lock down the hold down device, and it will basically hold the cap flush against the platen and allow me to position my design. Now at that point, of course, I want to make sure I dial in the proper time, temperature, and pressure. So I'm just going to do a test here, and I'm applying fashion film. I'm actually going to only apply it for 10 seconds, and I'm going to apply it at that light pressure that I have on the machine. Now, I'm pressing at 280 degrees, and I always tell people when you're pressing headwear, you're allowed to break the rules of heat printing a bit when it comes to time, temperature, and pressure. This isn't going to be an item that's laundered, so basically I'm trying to get it to stick and stay without damaging the hat. For that reason, I'm pressing it at 280 degrees because we have one of these acrylic based hats, a new era hat that's very popular, and then I'll position my design for application. So we got a little falcon logo. I'm going to position into place. I'm going to place it off center on this cap just for a design element, and then ultimately we're going to cover this with a cover sheet and lock it down. So I've trimmed my piece of craft paper to the appropriate size just to lay over this cap. Position that into place. You can use thermal tape if you like, but the main thing is you want to lock this down for the recommended application. In this case, I'm making sure I get the full 10 seconds for application, but I've dropped the heat. After it's complete, I can peel the carrier back away from the design. You can either do that on the press or off the press. That's up to you. If it doesn't stick, obviously I don't have the right pressure. I was a little light there, so I'm going to just adjust this platen. The pressure adjustment on the hat press is actually underneath. And let me dial that into a little better pressure. No harm done, no damage done. I'm just going to reload the cap onto the machine. Lock my hold down device into place, and then cover it and lock it down with a more firm pressure. So I'm at a 6 now, which is more like a medium pressure. Remove my carrier from my design, and then ultimately I have a completed hat. Now if you wanted to press the top of this bill with a customization as well, you can flip the cap inside out and press the top of the bill. But let's stick over here at the cap press for a bit and show you some additional applications. So that was with a fused buckram, which is why I dropped the temperature so I didn't leave a permanent crease mark. Here's a soft crown cap. But the same concept, this low profile platen is really going to give me a lot of versatility in printing, but I always just want to load the cap on, sweatband out, lock the hold down device into place, attempting to get this as flat as possible, and then I can place any customization on there that I'd like. Cover it with a cover sheet and press it. This particular application is the 3M reflective with a security design. We're pressing right across the seam, and we'll give you a close-up here once it's completed. So I'll bring that right up to the camera. And you can see this is directly across the seam. It's washing out a little bit because it's reflecting, but you get a very nice result directly across the seam, and it's coming better into focus now, so you get the full effects. You don't really need to worry about the seam at all. To Courtney's point, if you wanted to press a curved bill on this cap press, you can just lay the bill like so across the front of the machine and sort of support the cap. If you're doing a lot of curved bill presses, we've actually built just little simple cardboard cutouts that you can slide under here so it better supports the cap and you don't have to hold it with one hand while you're locking down with the other hand. But it's very easy to press the bill of a hat on any of these curved platens that are available. And so there's a wide range of attachments available, and there's also a wide range of transfer options for heat printing on caps. So far we've showed some CAD cut options. You can also heat print digital transfers. So a digital transfer can be produced on a print cut machine. So this is a way to get a customer's full color logo across the front of the cap. This was produced off of a Roland BN20, which is a print cut device, or you can order it as a CAD prints from Stahls where it's already printed for you. Simply position it into place, cover it, and hit it for the recommended application. After this completes, we'll switch back to Courtney and show you Pro Cap embroidery actually applied on the bill of a hat. just going to remove it from my machine, pull the carrier, and get you that same close-up. We have a design that's applied completely across the seam. You get the nice full color logo, color gradients, fills, textures here. So with CAD prints, even we can accommodate full color logos across hats. Now, if you wanted to apply an additional placement on the side of a cap, you can load the cap in here sideways, flip out the sweatband, lock that hold down device, and lock it down. Now, one thing I will point out, you want to watch sort of the edge of this platen, that it doesn't leave a crease in the bill of your cap when it's locking down, because it overextends past the edge. So if you're pressing the side of a cap, you just sort of want to pull down on the bill as you're locking it down, just to make sure you're not going to leave a permanent crease mark in the bill of the cap. I've seen that happen before. And consequently, you can do the back placement as well as the cap just by dropping this into place, placing your transfer, and locking that down. So lots of opportunities. Let's turn it back over to Courtney at the Fusion Press. So the Pro Cap embroidery, once again, you can adjust application as needed, since this isn't going to be laundered. So we're going to run this at the 320 degrees that our press is on for fashion film and press it for 20 seconds.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do press in the top of the Pro Cap, of the hat for the Pro Cap embroidery. So I am just going to flip the hat inside out so I can press the front of it just the way I press the underneath of the bill. It'll sit just like on top of the press like it did the first time around. Then I'm going to line up my Pro Cap letters. So I'll switch over to my overhead camera so you guys can see this. Cover this with a cover sheet.
And this is a cool tone-on-tone effect with these Pro Cap letters, white on white. Nice thing I love about these is that it looks like it's actually embroidered onto the hat. So it's a great option. You can order letters and numbers and press it directly over a seam on the front of a cap to the bill of a cap. A lot of different choices here.
Alright, so once we have that complete, we'll have a fully customized hat. Front, back, underneath, top, just about anywhere you can be to print the hat. So there we have a completely customized hat, and we'll switch back over for one more application at the cap press.
Yeah, let's keep going. This is ping pong camera time. Video production's having fun with this. So one of the coolest applications that I think that we've seen with Headwear is where you actually apply the design where it stretches from the bill of the cap up towards the front of the cap. And for this application, glitter flake is a very flexible material that works well. I've seen folks do it with rhinestones and other transfer types. I tend to like glitter flake, and this will show you how to heat press the bill of a cap. So what we've done is we've cut a design on a vinyl cutter out of the glitter flake material, and then we've actually trimmed the design so it bends a little easier when we're positioning that onto the press. So we'll start with our cap loaded. And Joe, you may want to come in close for this one with a zoom if you can. Okay, good. And so we're going to start by positioning our transfer. You see how it's bent and cut open. And basically position that so the top of the application is going to apply first. And we're just going to lock that down. Carefully let the press open. Remove the hat carefully. Keep in mind this adhesive is still hot that's just been applied, and then I'm going to flip it around to the bill application. Being careful not to heat press your hand, and lock that down for the application. So now it's sort of like pressing the oversized shirts. I'm breaking it into 2 steps over at the heat press, and then once it's completed, I'm going to peel the carrier, and now I have a beautiful design that just stretched from the bill of the cap over to the crown of the cap. And you can do that with any design and create customization from there. And while we're close up here, just to show you how you might do a placement elsewhere on the cap, you can load that thing in sideways, take my Cougar's text if I want to apply it creatively to the side of the cap here, You can cover it with a cover sheet or not with glitter flake and just lock it down for the recommended application. That carrier is actually acting as my cover sheet at this point, which is why I don't necessarily have to use one unless I'm working with a hat that's heat sensitive. So, completed design. So ultimately, you can get fully creative with heat pressing headwear as well, just a lot of different unique applications. So, I know you were excited to talk about an additional headwear application. I'm not real sure if I'd categorize it as headwear, but I think you do. Tell us a little bit about this bow you see here and how we're going to fit that into today's morning show.
Yeah, so when we were preparing for this, we were talking about headwear. You all ultimately go to hats. I'm not a huge hat girl, so I ultimately went to hair bows, which is something I classify as headwear, anything you wear on your head. And these are just a huge trend that we're seeing, and something I think as you're selling into any kind of spirit wear or cheer markets, or even just for schools, that you should be considering and packaging with your items. So this has been completely customized with CAD-cut glitter flake. We have quite a few videos on stahlstv.com on how to customize hair bows. You'll actually find them under the headwear section. So it's very fitting for today's morning show, but I definitely think it's a real lucrative opportunity.
Good. And then I see where it's been paired, color-wise, the combination with the lace back sort of tank top here with the high-low cut and metallic and glitter. So really sharp look. I like it. I'm just not sure it fits into the headwear episode. I guess jury's still out on that one. So we're looking forward to being back with you live next week on the Stahls TV morning show, and we'll have a ton of news to share with you from the Long Beach Trade Show that we just got back from, and we're excited for that. Thanks for watching Stahls TV.